Good afternoon and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 313. I'm continuing the story of Jullanar of the Sea from 1001 Arabian Nights. Now, you might remember that Queen Lab had changed herself into a white bird and had been hanging out with her favorite love, who had been a servant but wouldn't do exactly what she said. So she turned him into a blackbird, and whenever she wanted to be with him, she would turn herself into a white bird, and the two of them would then be able to hang out without anybody really knowing they were hanging out. And King Badir had awakened one morning on the 40th day of them being together. She was gone, and he'd gone over looking for her and had seen these birds hanging out together and had assumed very quickly that somehow this was Queen Lab, and watched from afar and then saw when she turned herself back into herself, or into her human form. Now, he went back and lay down in the bed. She came back to the bed, and she could tell something was different. And she even asked, "Did you see the two of us birds hanging out together?" The thing that Badir did not know is that she had him drink this tea that made him tell the truth whether he wanted to or not. And he said yes, he had seen them together, and yes, he had seen her turn back into her human form from being a bird. And when she heard this, she knew that things were probably going to change, and she began to scheme on what to do. Now, that night they had gone to sleep, and Badir had looked like he was asleep, though he really wasn't. And Queen Lab had gotten up and thrown some red sand across the floor, which had turned into a stream. She had taken some barley seeds and sown it in the ground that was on either side of the stream. It quickly had grown up. She harvested the barley heads and ground it into a meal. With a wave of a hand, everything disappeared except for the ground barley. And she now took this barley and put it away in a vessel. And Badir continued to sleep, or seemingly sleep, till he got up in the morning. And when he did, he talked to Queen Lab, and he said, as I mentioned before, I'm going to see my uncle today, and I'll see you when I return. She said, fine, enjoy yourself. And so off he went. He saddled his horse, went and saw the fava bean seller, who, when he heard what had happened, he was both concerned and upset, and not worried about it. He said, "We will take care of this." And he said, "She is plotting against you at this point. You must know that you must not eat a single morsel of that ground barley, because if you do, you will be under her power, and she will be able to change you into whatever form it is that she wants. Here's what we're going to do," he said. "I'm going to give you some barley as well, and you take this back, and when you do, offer some to her. Now, she'll pull out the barley that she has created, and she'll want you to eat of that. Pretend that you do, but as I said, don't, because if you do, she will turn you into something other than your human form. Now, she will probably throw water in your face and probably say something awful to you, and to turn you into, or try to turn you into something. But so long as you don't eat that barley, nothing will happen. Once she sees that her magic has not worked, she will say to you that she has just been teasing you to see what you might do. But know that it was not teasing, and had you eaten of that barley, her magic would have worked. Now, if she eats of this barley that I give you, you will have the power over her. And all you need to do is take a little water, throw it onto her, and bid her into whatever form you wish her to take. Be careful. Remember, do not eat any of the barley that she wishes you to eat. Now, King Badir, he left and went back a little bit later in that afternoon and returned to be with Queen Lab. And when he entered, she at least feigned to be very happy to see him. And she asked him to sit down with her, which he did. And they sat down, and she said, "Here, eat some of this beautiful barley that I have ground." He said, "Oh, I have brought some too. Try mine. This is delicious." So they sat down, and she poured his into a little dish and some of hers into another one. And he pretended to eat of what she had given him, but he did not. And after some time, he offered her some of what he had, which she ate a little bit. After she was certain that he had eaten what she had created, she took some water and threw it in his face and said, "You vile creature, turn into a lame old mule." But nothing happened. She turned to Badir and said, "Oh, my love, I was only teasing to see what you would do if I did this to you." He said, "So long as we are together, so long as I am alive, I will always love you," he said. And she sat down, and she ate a little bit more of the barley that he had brought. And in a moment, she began convulsing on the floor. We took some water, he threw it upon her, and he said, "Turn into a beautiful dappled mule." And in a moment, Queen Lab had turned into a dappled mule. She immediately began to cry, her eyes showing tears, and she kneeled down on the ground and began to rub her cheeks against his feet. We'll stop the story there. Find out what could possibly happen next. Okay, thanks for joining. Hope you have a good rest of your day.